guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with some bingeable romance series you have to read because I feel like the new year is the perfect time to really sit down with a book series that you literally cannot put down, that you want to binge all the way through. You finish one, you're like, oh my god, I need the next one. And all of these are romance series that follow the same couple, because typically with those, they leave you hanging. There is no HEA at the end of the first book, and you're like, I need to know what happens next to these characters. So I have a big pile here. I feel like not a lot of authors are writing series that follow the same couple, and I miss that feeling where you're just like, I need to be with these characters, I need multiple books with them because I'm obsessed with them, and I definitely need to know how it's going to work out. Before we get to the books, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Amari Nilix and her Austin Heat series. Today, book 3 in the Austin Heat series is coming out. Raquel and Jake are our main characters, and they meet in book 1, which is The One Who Undid Me. Jake is a rising NFL star, but he really wants to settle down with a normal girl in Austin, Texas, and he meets Raquel, and Raquel is actually a high-end escort, and she has moved to Austin, and she's like not really into the life of being a high-end escort anymore, but they meet and sparks fly, and they end up really liking each other, but they are not really what each other is looking for, and they don't know the truth about one another. So their story starts in this book, and there's definitely tons of spice, and then we continue their story in Austin Heat, The One That Got Away, which is a book 2, where they're just trying to figure out, can they make it work? Do they want to make it work with one another? And then we are taken into book 3, The One That I Crave. We are still following Jake and Raquel to see if they can actually make it work, if they can keep their hands off of each other, and we do have sports romance involved. Think a spicy version of Virgin River meets Friday Night Lights meets Yellowstone. We have it in Texas. We have a football player. We have 2 characters who just cannot keep their hands off of each other. With book 3 coming out, it's the perfect time to binge the entire series. So if you're interested in a very bingeable, spicy series, definitely check out the Austin Heat series by Amari Nilix. And thank you so much to the author for sponsoring this video. I feel like there are 2 book series that really come to mind when I think of bingeable series about the same couple, the same characters, that are just so endearing and you fall madly in love with them. So obviously we have the Addicted series. I think that Kristen Becca Ridgey did an amazing job making you fall in love with a whole cast of characters that you literally could read like 20 books about them. The series is long, and I don't see anybody complaining about how long the series is because you really want to see how they make it work. We do have spin-offs of the series where it's technically the Addicted series, and we kind of go to the Calloway sisters and back to the Addicted, and we follow different sisters, but we have the same whole cast of characters the entire time, and you get to really see them fall in love and deal with their own struggles, which I think is the most amazing part about series that follow the same couple. So we have this one. We have Lily and Lo. Lily's a sex addict, Lo's a drug addict. They've been best friends, and they're fake dating in order to enable each other's addictions. We follow Lily's sisters' romances as well, and then there's an entire spin-off series of this series. But we also have the Magnolia Park series. This is what I feel like is the most recent series that really does this as well, where everybody last year became obsessed with this series, where we have Magnolia and BJ, and we have Daisy and Christian, and we do follow all their stories throughout the books, and we see them. They have the same friend group, and they are seen in the books, but we have 2 books about this couple. We have 2 books about Daisy and Christian, and book 5 is releasing in a couple months, I think. And so you become so obsessed with these characters and the hurt and angst in their romances that you do not ever want to leave them, and you will continue to think about them like they are real people, which is what my favorite thing about these kinds of series are, is you feel like you're friends with them, and you're like, I need to know how they're doing, and you keep on reading about them, and you don't care how many books long it is. You're like, I need more. And usually these kinds of series do end on cliffhangers as well that keep you coming back for more, which is so true about this series. Like, so true. So true. The next one I have is, because it's a duet, but it does have a spin-off book about a different couple, so you get to see this world and these characters. But we have the Kingmaker duet by Kennedy Ryan. Talk about a cliffhanger. Like, I was so obsessed with these characters. We have our heroine who is at a protest for a pipeline going in on native land. Her mother was Native American and went missing, and so she is really passionate about protecting native land, and the hero, his father's the one putting the pipeline on that land. He doesn't agree with him, and they meet at this protest. She's a little too young for them to like start dating because he's like early 20s, she's late teens. You're like, not now. And then they keep on meeting like every few years and running into each other, and it's kind of like that lifelong soulmates kind of romance, and then they fall in love. It's been so long since I've read this series, though I definitely want to get back into it because I love these characters so much. The ending of book 1 had such an intense cliffhanger. You will need to pick up book 2 immediately because you're like, I need to know what happens to these characters, like what the heck is happening. I was obsessed. You are going to definitely binge through these 2 romances. I feel like it's very common for paranormal fantasy and especially Why Choose series to follow the same couple. So I do have a couple Why Choose in here, and the first one is the Supernaturals of Castle Academy series by Tessa Hale. I always forget the title of these, but we have Legacy of Shadows, Anchor of Secrets, and Destiny of Ashes. I think those were out of order. But this is a paranormal romance series where she is living with her abusive mom and her either stepdad or her mom's boyfriend, some guy that she's really freaked out by. She sleeps in the garage, and her childhood best friend shows up, and he's like, I'm going to take you to my house where I live with my friends and like protect you and save you because like this isn't okay. And so she goes and lives with him, and he lives with his 3 best friends, and it ends up being a Why Choose romance with 5 guys because one of them kind of has a little bit of a history with the guys, and it takes a little bit to fix that relationship. But there are definitely cliffhangers in every Tessa Hale book, and I'm obsessed. She has a new series coming out soon that I'm so excited for, and she typically writes trilogies, and they all follow the same characters. Usually someone ends up getting kidnapped or like something bad happens, and you're like, how are they gonna get out of this situation at the end of each book? So this one for sure had me reaching for the next book as soon as I was done with the first one. The audiobooks are amazing as well. So she ends up having no idea that there's actually this like paranormal world. So we have I think it's a caster. He's like a warlock witch character. We have a wolf shifter. We have, I think, 2 dragons and a succubus as her mates. So it's very entertaining, very fun, and they're so short that you will fly through them. Another author that really does a lot of this kind of series that you will definitely want to binge is Monica James. So she has this series that is I don't even remember what this series is called. We have Bad Saint. I always call it the Bad Saint series. Fallen Saint and Forever My Saint. These are dark romances where the heroine is kidnapped on her wedding night, and the hero is the one who kidnaps her, and they start falling in love. And this one has so much action and adventure in it. Like they get shipwrecked at one point, and you have to figure out like how she's gonna get out of the situation. And we do have a duet, I think, that's a spinoff of this about the bad guy in this series, so that was really great. But she typically writes either duets or trilogies following the same characters, so you always are left with like wanting more of these characters and diving into the next book. So dark romance series that I was absolutely obsessed with. If you remember a couple years ago I was talking about this, I would not shut up about the series. So I really love her books, and I really enjoyed the spinoff series about the villainous character, which was a really fun take because I love a villain story. So definitely read Monica James. And I have the Guild series by Tate James. I always call these the Honey Trap series because it's the first book, but this one is a polyamorous romance, and it follows these assassins. So the heroine actually is a hired assassin, and there is someone that works for the same company that she does that's literally obsessed with her and stalks her, and that's one of the heroes. And she is hired to basically go on a suicide mission. It's like, this guy, you're never gonna kill him. Like, he will kill you before you get to him. And so she ends up taking the mission anyways, and acts like a damsel in distress when she gets caught, and acts like she has no idea what he's talking about. So the guy she's supposed to kill is super suspicious and takes her to his like island that like he lives on with his people and stuff like that. So it's hard to explain, but she is so smart and she's such a good actress that the hero's like, did she really send to kill me, or am I like going insane and I'm just paranoid? And so we also have the other hero who will do anything to save her and want her as well. And this definitely has so many cliffhangers. Like books 1 and 2 have the most intense cliffhangers that I'm like, wait a second, like what the heck is going to happen in the next book? So I flew through these. The audiobooks were fantastic, and I was definitely obsessed with the series. So you have to pick this up if you like more action and heroines who can really take care of themselves. I know I recently talked about this series in a couple videos, but I just finished it because I could not put this down. I listened to every single audiobook in one day, and the last 2 I've listened to like back to back. It is the St. View Prison series by Elle Thorpe. This is another Why Choose, but prison romance. Definitely more suspense and action. Our heroine, she sees her sister's ex out and she's always kind of liked him. They end up hooking up, and then the next morning he is in bed with her sister covered in her blood and her sister's dead. And she's like, what the heck happened? So he goes to prison and he's on death row. She's like, I don't think he actually killed my sister. So she decides to get a job in the prison and has a lawyer and falls for the lawyer, a prison guard, and the guy who's in prison. And there are the cliffhangers in this book. Let me tell you, after book one, I was like, what is going to happen? I flew through these. They are not that long either. They're like 8-9 hour audiobooks, and I literally just sat down and binged them the entire day. Like, one I think was driving somewhere on a road trip, so I literally listened to that the entire time, and I was like, this is so good. And then the next two I was like doing my puzzle, walking my dogs. I was like, I need an excuse to just listen to this audiobook. So they were amazing, so good, you will fly through them. Then I have the Boys of Belrose series by Tate James. This is also what I'm obsessed with right now. I've only read book one, but like the ending, I'm like, I need to read book two now. And I know for sure Tate James writes the best and like cliffhanger endings. If you've read her Madison Kate series or her Hades series, like the endings of those had me dying for the next one. So this is another Why Choose, but it is a rock star Why Choose, and the heroine is running from an ex from the mafia who wants to kill her because of what she overheard, and she ends up being taken in by this guy who's in this band that's actually her other ex's band who hates her, and so she's going to be with, I think, the 3 guys in the band and possibly her ex. I have no idea though if that's what's going to work out. But typically Why Choose series have really great engaging plots that you literally cannot put the book down for. So this definitely had action and develops the relationships well. And it really works for Why Choose series because you see the relationships develop over multiple books and they take time to develop all the relationships. That's why I love books about the same character in multiple books, because you get so much more depth to their romance that you become so attached to them. So this one, so good. And the last one I have is also one that I've only read book one, but again, the ending was so good and they're so short, you're gonna fly through them, and I cannot wait to read books 2 and 3. So that is the Passion and Venom series. I don't remember what the series is called. The Venom series? This is Passion and Venom by Shanora Williams, or S. Williams, and this one, the heroine is kidnapped on her wedding day and her husband is murdered right in front of her, and the guy that does that takes her to his compound and does not let her go. And it's very touch her and you die, and the ending of this one, I was like, did that just happen? Like, I still vividly remember this scene in my mind, and I am just like feral over this romance, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. So this is another one where you are like, I need the next one now. Like, they're like candy. You take one, you can't stop. You gotta keep on going. So definitely excited to continue on this series. And those are bingeable romance series you will not want to put down. If you are feeling at all slumpy in the new year and you just want something that you can fly through, definitely pick these up, and absolutely check out the Austin Heat series. We got some football players, we got a high-end escort, we have a couple who just like is not happy with their lives and super into each other, but they don't know if they're really a good fit or not, and you get to follow them through them trying to figure this out. And who doesn't love some hot football players in Texas? Like I said, it is like a spicy combination of Virgin River, Yellowstone, and Friday Night Lights. So if those all seem interesting to you, definitely check out the Austin Heat series, and thank you so much to Amari Nilix for sponsoring this video. Let me know if you have any other romance series that you absolutely binge and you could not put down, about the same characters that you just became so attached to and could not stop thinking about. I would love to hear, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.